Remember gathering around the television, laughing with the sitcom stars who felt like family on screen? They were America's perfect neighbors. But behind the studio curtains, they lived a real-life drama fueled by terror and forced silence. Tonight, we are pulling back the velvet curtain to reveal the bittersweet truth behind the laughter, the manufactured marriages, and the heartbreaking price they paid. Discover the hidden history of your favorite icons. Subscribe now to never miss a classic Hollywood story. Rock Hudson, the stolen life of Hollywood's golden boy. For those of us who grew up in the golden age of cinema, Rock Hudson was the definition of an American heartthrob. With his broad shoulders, effortless charm, and commanding screen presence, he captured the nation's heart in classics like Giant and Pillow Talk. To the public, he was the ultimate symbol of mid-century masculinity. Yet behind that dazzling marquee smile lay a man living in perpetual shadow. In the 1950s, the studio system ruled Hollywood with an iron fist. Strict morality clauses meant a single rumor could erase a star's career instantly. When whispers about Hudson's private life threatened to break in 1955, his studio hastily arranged a marriage to Phyllis Gates. The public fell for the fairy tale, but behind closed doors, Hudson was a gay man forced to hide his truth to survive in an intolerant industry. His stardom endured for decades, transitioning gracefully to television in Macmillan and Wife. But the illusion couldn't last forever. In 1985, the world stood still when Hudson collapsed, becoming the first major face of the terrifying AIDS epidemic. His tragic passing in Beverly Hills that autumn changed America forever. It stripped away the stigma of a devastating illness and forced a nation to finally look at the man behind the myth. Rock Hudson gave us the perfect Hollywood dream, but it cost him the freedom to ever live his own. Liberace, the magnificent illusion of Mr. Showmanship. For those of us who remember the dazzling nights of mid-century entertainment, Liberace was an absolute force of nature. With his candelabras, fur capes, and diamond-encrusted pianos, Mr. Showmanship transformed extravagance into a spectacular American brand. His radiant smile lit up television screens and Las Vegas stages alike. Yet the very flamboyance that made him an unforgettable icon also became his golden cage. In those days, Hollywood welcomed eccentricity as long as it remained mere theater. The moment an artist's performance hinted at a deeper personal truth, the danger became real. For decades, gossip columns circled and audiences whispered, but Liberace mastered the art of deflection. When Britain's Daily Mirror dared to imply he was gay in the late 1950s, Liberace fought back with fierce legal force and won. That high-profile lawsuit successfully guarded his public image, reassuring the millions of adoring fans who preferred the fairy tale over reality. Behind the velvet curtains, however, he lived a carefully guarded life, protecting the secret relationships that the world wasn't ready to accept. The final curtain fell in 1987. When the beloved showman passed away, the medical revelation of AIDS-related complications instantly shattered the decades-long illusion. It was a heartbreaking end to an era. Liberace spent his entire life gifting America the ultimate escape into glamour, while forever running from a truth he could never openly embrace. Raymond Burr, the silent verdict of an American icon. To millions of us who gathered around the television set each week, Raymond Burr was the ultimate anchor of American justice. As the brilliant, unshakable Perry Mason, and later the determined Ironside, his booming voice and commanding presence defined authority, reason, and moral strength. Yet while he spent hours on screen defending the truth, Burr was forced to orchestrate one of the most elaborate deceptions in Hollywood history to protect his own life. In an era when a single whisper could prompt a network cancellation, Burr chose a daring defense. He didn't just evade the gossip columns, he rewrote his history. For years, he spoke movingly of a tragic past, sharing heart-wrenching stories of wives lost to accidents and cancer and a young son taken by leukemia. America wept for his grief, and the narrative successfully shielded him from any suspicion. However, investigative researchers later revealed a bittersweet truth: those family members never existed. Behind the courtroom drama and the carefully constructed heartbreak, Burr lived a quiet, devoted life with his longtime partner Robert Benavides for over 3 decades. It was a beautiful, enduring bond that the public was never permitted to see. Raymond Burr's legacy is both legendary and heartbreaking. It reminds us of a time when the fear of rejection could force a man to invent a tragic phantom family just to safeguard the real love that kept him whole. Paul Lynde, the laughter that hidden the truth. For those of us who spent our evenings tuned into Hollywood squares, Paul Lynde was absolutely irreplaceable. Sitting in his iconic center square, he was the undisputed king of the quick-witted one-liner. With his sharp nasal voice, theatrical delivery, and that unmistakable knowing wink, he had millions of Americans laughing along with every single punchline. In a television culture that demanded rigid conventional masculinity, Lynde's flamboyance was impossible to miss. Yet the mid-century entertainment industry operated on an unspoken rule: you could be as campy and eccentric as you liked as long as it was wrapped in the safe packaging of a comedy routine. Because of this, Lynde never publicly confirmed his sexuality, even as rumors swirled at the height of his fame. Everyone understood the joke, but no one dared to speak the truth aloud. Behind that brilliant, cynical smile, however, lay a much darker reality. Away from the studio lights, close friends described a man who battled profound loneliness and the exhausting strain of living a divided life. Paul Lynde spent decades entertaining a nation that gladly cheered for his flamboyant persona on camera, yet refused to make space for the real man beneath the laughter. His legacy reminds us of a unique era when a star could be hiding in plain sight, beloved by millions, yet entirely alone. Merv Griffin, the mastermind behind the television empire. To generations of Americans who grew up watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, Merv Griffin was a towering architect of our daily entertainment. As a charming talk show host and a brilliant media mogul, he built a massive television empire out of smooth conversation and absolute poise. Griffin understood better than anyone that in the high-stakes world of Hollywood, a carefully tailored image was both your strongest armor and your greatest currency. On the surface, Griffin's life mirrored the traditional American dream. He married, raised a son, and stood as one of the most successful and respected producers in industry history. Yet beneath that polished corporate veneer, quiet rumors about his private life persisted for decades. Griffin handled these whispers with the exact same finesse he brought to the screen, staying perfectly composed and utilizing humor, charm, and strategic ambiguity to masterfully deflect any prying questions. Unlike other icons of his era whose secrets collapsed in sudden dramatic scandals, Griffin maintained his boundaries with ironclad control. He guarded his personal life so meticulously that even after his passing in 2007, the debate surrounding his sexuality continued. Merv Griffin gave America decades of joy and unforgettable television, proving to the very end that he was the ultimate producer, not just of hit game shows, but of his own lifelong narrative. Jim Nabors, the gentle heart who waited for the world to catch up. To those of us who fondly remember the comforting days of 1960s television, Jim Nabors was an absolute national treasure. As the lovable, wide-eyed Gomer Pyle, his infectious catchphrases and sweet small-town charm brought pure joy into millions of American living rooms. Yet beneath that cheerful down-home persona was a man who understood that the era he entertained could judge a performer with unforgiving harshness. Rather than turning his private identity into a public battleground, Nabors chose a quiet path. In the 1970s, at the height of his fame, he made the deliberate choice to step away from Hollywood's suffocating spotlight, retreating to the peaceful shores of Hawaii. Safe from the relentless gaze of studio executives and gossip columnists, Nabors built a beautiful, devoted life in paradise. Behind that protective wall of silence lay a deep, enduring relationship with his partner Stan Cadwallader that spanned nearly 4 decades. Then came the beautiful final act. In 2013, at the age of 82, Neighbors and Cadwallader were officially married in Washington state shortly after same-sex marriage became legal. What makes Jim Neighbors' story so deeply moving to look back on is its rare tenderness. He was never ensnared by scandalous headlines or bitter exposés. Instead, with immense patience and dignity, he simply lived his truth in quiet contentment, waiting until the world finally became safe enough to bless the love he had cherished all along. Rudolph Valentino, the tragic pioneer of Hollywood's silver screen. For those of us with a deep reverence for the dawn of cinema, Rudolph Valentino remains the ultimate timeless symbol of the silver screen. In the roaring 1920s, his mesmerizing gaze and profound emotional intensity in masterpieces like The Sheik sent audiences into an unprecedented frenzy. He was Hollywood's very first global male heartthrob. Yet the same exotic elegance that made him a god to millions of adoring fans triggered a bitter backlash from a cynical media. To the conservative establishment of mid-century America, Valentino's graceful movements and fluid sensuality were seen as a threat. Critics harshly questioned his masculinity, labeling him with derogatory terms and mocking his refined style. His tragedy was not defined by confirmed private relationships, but by the relentless punishment he endured simply for failing to conform to a rigid, rugged ideal of what an American man was supposed to be. He was adored by the world, yet spent his brief life desperately defending his own dignity. The final curtain fell much too soon. In 1926, at the tender age of just 31, Valentino tragically passed away, sparking a wave of national grief so intense it became legendary. His untimely death cemented a myth born of heartache. Rudolph Valentino's legacy stands as a haunting reminder that Hollywood's policing of male identity was born at the very beginning, and it was ruthless from the start. Tab Hunter, the golden boy who broke the Hollywood mold. For those of us who remember the vibrant late 1950s, Tab Hunter was the absolute definition of the perfect boy next door. With his sun-kissed blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, and athletic build, he was the ultimate golden boy who captured the hearts of millions of American teenage girls. Warner Brothers invested a fortune to craft his image, presenting him as the supreme symbol of clean-cut traditional masculinity. To maintain this flawless illusion, the studio carefully orchestrated high-profile dates with Hollywood's top starlets, including Natalie Wood and Debbie Reynolds. While gossip magazines were filled with tales of these manufactured romances, the reality was starkly different. Beneath the glittering surface of a Hollywood heartthrob, Tab was living a double life shadowed by constant anxiety. The fragile illusion nearly shattered in 1955 when the notorious Confidential magazine attempted to ruin his career by exposing a past arrest at a private gay party. Although the studio managed to suppress the scandal to protect their prized asset, the paralyzing fear of exposure haunted Tab for decades. It wasn't until 2005, with the release of his brave autobiography, Tab Hunter Confidential, that he finally stepped into the light to reclaim his truth. Tab Hunter's journey remains a powerful testament to the bittersweet cost of stardom and the enduring courage it takes to finally live without a script. Thank you for watching today's video. If you find the content interesting or useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest videos. Your support is the biggest motivation for us to continue creating better quality content every day. What do you think about today's topic? Leave a comment below so we can discuss it together. See you in the next video. Have a great day.